It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Toronto Six NWHL/PHF General Manager, Krysti Clarke. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into working in professional sports?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question right there to start off, because it wasn't my initial plan to get into professional sports. I actually wanted to work within the youth world. I worked for a youth club here in Canada, and my previous boss recommended me for a role within York United, which is a men's professional soccer team. And it was before the team was announced, before the league was announced. I didn't even know it existed. And so I had the privilege of being one of the first hires for the team, and then it just ignited my passion for professional sports and working within it.
What was your time working with the York United FC?
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing to kind of do a soccer startup. My background is in kinesiology and health and in business, so it was kind of putting it all together and being able to kind of really start from scratch and build something with an amazing group of people. The league and the team started at the same time in 2018. So it was great kind of seeing behind the scenes of what it takes to make a league and what it takes to make a team. So it was really eye-opening, and I feel like it really kind of fast-tracked me into understanding what it takes to be a professional team.
What was it like whenever you got the opportunity with Toronto Six to be the general manager for the first time?
Yeah, it was. That's another opportunity that came out without me actually knowing it existed or that it was available. I met Digit about a year ago when she was in the process of finding out which facility Toronto Six should play in. And Toronto Six actually plays out of York University, which is the same university that York United plays out of. So she reached out asking, hey, how is it to work with the university? How is everything there? And I gave her, the rundown about how great they are and how great of a campus it is as well. And we just became friendly. We added each other on social media and LinkedIn, and we kind of just stayed in touch, here and there. I sent messages while they were in the bubble season last year. And then around March, April, she just sent me a text and said, hey, would you be interested in being a general manager? And I immediately said yes. And so we did the interview process. I met with the owners, and I was a successful candidate. And it's been amazing to transition into the Toronto Six and working with professional women athletes. It's my first time doing that. As working with York United, it was all men. So it's a great being around all the women that's on the team, but then also being able to go into these meetings and, everybody around the table for the most part are women. And it's great to see women in positions of power.
What are some of your roles and responsibility as general manager?
Also a loaded question there. So I pretty much do all that needs to be done in order for the coaches and the players just to focus on hockey and playing and being the best that they can so we can win the Isabel Cup. So I do all of the ticketing. I work with our sponsorship team, with our social media team, all the travel arrangements, booking the ice for practices, for games, managing the game ops, and just, when things pop up, the players know that they can reach out to me and I can look into making it better for them or easier for them as they are, getting ready for the season.
Of course, what is a typical game day like for you as general manager?
So that is still to be determined, right? Because it's going to be my first year, and the first time that Toronto Six is playing in Toronto. So there's going to be a lot of um, new experiences for everybody as we move into this season. In my previous role with York United, and I did the game management for them. It was a lot of run around behind the scenes, making sure that the fans were taken care of and also the players. That nobody actually knows what's going on in the background. They just know that they're there to either be entertained or to play. So I would assume the same in my role as general manager, is just making sure that all the game ops are set up so that the players arrive, they know where to go. And for the fans, they know when they come in, they're going to be taken care of and they're going to enjoy the game.
What is the culture that you have helped build with Toronto, and what are some of your future plans to obviously build that culture with Toronto?
Yeah, I think for me and just my personality and who I am, it's all about being authentic and open. So right from the beginning, when I was introduced to the players, I sent out a message with, a picture of my family and just who I am, because I want them to know who I am. I don't want it to be at a distance. I want them to know that they could always come to me. And that we're in this together. In order for us to continue to grow the sport and to grow the team culture, it's all about us being open and honest and really focused on our pillars of inclusion, education, and empowerment. So if I can model that, hopefully the team models it as well, and it goes into our community as we move forward and get fans into the stadium, get fans into Toronto Six, is getting them energized about not just women's sport, but sports in general, and how we can come together as a whole to really, ignite the future. Not just little girls playing hockey, but boys as well, behind the Toronto Six.
Of course, coming off of season 6, what is it going to be like in season 7? Obviously, coming off of playing in Lake Placid. I know you weren't there, but what was that like coming off of the Lake Placid experience?
I think that, for our team and our players, especially the ones that are returning, it's that excitement that they finally get to play here. We're a Toronto team and we haven't been able to play in Toronto. We haven't been able to play in Canada. So I think there's just overall excitement that they get to play in their from majority of them, their hometown, or, close to their hometown. Their families are able to come to the games. We're now allowed to have fans, which is great. It was just announced in our province, which in America is your states, that we could have 100% capacity instead of just 50%. So I think it's just the excitement of everything coming together, and that we're moving forward and we're able to, start to really get back into what sport is. And that's, connecting the fans to the players and the players playing in front of fans.
Of course, with it coming out yesterday that obviously the NWHL/PHF is going to be broadcast on ESPN, what is that like for you as general manager and seeing that movement change?
I think, there has been overall movement within women's sports in regards to invest in women. And I think it's incredible that ESPN is going to be broadcasting our games, because now it's not, it's more accessible for people to see us and understand our league and see our players, and and create those heroes amongst our teams, because our teams have incredible leaders, and I think that they need to be seen on the big stage. So I think it's just great to finally have a spotlight on women's sport, and not just once every 4 years, but throughout the year. So I'm excited that ESPN is taking that role of bringing us in front of people and bringing us to their home.
Of course, in the last 2 years, what has it been like to see obviously women's hockey change and more people know about women's hockey?
I think that it's incredible to see the movement that has already started with the league and with the team, and just knowing that the future is bright and that we can continue to move along and not just, as I mentioned before, be the role models for little girls, but for boys and whoever within the spectrum can just see themselves and believe that there's a pathway. We speak about it a lot within soccer when I was there, but it's the same thing within women's hockey. Is you have kids who play their entire life. Maybe they go off to university and they're able to play, but what happens after university? So being able to have this league and this team allows them to see that there's a pathway within hockey, and that's not just as players, but it's also in terms of office. That you could see that you can actually work within sports. You can become a part of the executive team of a professional sport in your area. You can work the games. You can be able to be behind the scenes and make the difference as we continue to elevate this conversation and elevate women in general.
Who are some notable players on the Six?
It's hard to say one or two, because I think that all of our players are amazing and they're all ready to be on that stage. I think that the good thing about our team is that we're not individuals, we're a team, and everybody brings the enthusiasm, brings the talent, brings the excitement to the game. And there isn't just one player you should be looking out for. You should be looking out for the whole team. And that's the way that I know our coach and our president have gone about recruiting, is who can be impactful, and not just one, but in terms of a team. How can we be impactful as a whole?
What is the process like of obviously getting to sign those professional athletes to a 1-year contract? And do you see them getting able to be signed to multiple years in the future?
It's a hard question. I think that as we move forward and we're able to increase salary caps and increase other elements to the league and team, that maybe we could look into multi-year. But I think it makes sense in terms of going year to year, because it's good to do that reassessment and understand where you are and where you want to go. But yeah, I think as we move forward and things start to move ahead, that conversation will change.
Of course, with Toronto Six being in Canada, do you see, for example, the PHF expanding different teams to obviously Canada and obviously around the US?
Yeah, I don't think it's just going to be a six. I definitely see it growing. I know that that's the plan, is to continue to grow, because as amazing as it is to have 6 teams, we want to have more so that there's more opportunities for people to play within the league. As I mentioned before, a lot of the kids play, they go to university, and then it's just, what's that next step? And we want to be able to kind of bridge that gap and allow people to continue to play hockey as long as they can within the standards that they're used to as well.
What was it like for you, obviously, whenever the NWHL decided to change their name to obviously the PHF?
I think it's a step in the right direction in regards to being more inclusive to everybody. I think that changing the name and then also changing symbology as well is kind of to show that we talk the talk and we walk the walk. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
As you get prepared in 17 days for your first game day, what is that going to be like to obviously be the general manager of a professional team on game day?
Now, let me tell you, I'm excited that the first game's away because it'll be great for me, especially as I mentioned, my background is in soccer, so it's my first in hockey. There's a lot of elements that are the same, but it would be great to see and be immersed in that experience and atmosphere to really understand just like, the hockey elements that we could bring back to Toronto and make our first game even more powerful than it will. But it really is, every day is Toronto Six, and how can we do better, and how can we grow it? How can we get to our fans? How can we make sure that our players are ready, that they're training right? And just, doing all the necessary steps so that nothing is left unnoticed, and that we have a list of potential things that we have to worry about, and, steps that we can do to overcome them. So it's really about, making that 1,000-point list and going through it, and then making plan Bs and plan Cs, so that everything is seamless.
Of course, as you said, with your first game being away, what are some things that you would take away from your first game to obviously when you get to play at home to have those Toronto Six fans enjoy, obviously, the new culture of Toronto Six?
Yeah, I think that every team will have their unique elements of what a game day looks like. But it's all about, maintaining that level of that baseline. It's covering that baseline and making sure that those things that fans expect are there. And then what can we do to make it more unique for us and for them as they come out to our games? That it's different than any hockey team or hockey game that they've been to, but also other sports as well. That it kind of, checks all the box for them in regards to what a professional game looks like. So in regards to going to Buffalo, it'll be great to see what they do and what their unique thing is, as we continue to, cultivate what our unique element is for fans when they come to games.
Of course, with this being your first year, was there any people that you talked to after you got the job to obviously understand what the PHF is all about now? Did you talk to Buffalo's GM, Nate Oliver, or let's say Boston Pride's GM?
Yeah, so the good thing is we're going to be competitors on the ice, right? But as a league as a whole and as teams, we're going to be there for each other because we all understand that we need to continue to grow the game. So other GMs and other kind of executives at other teams have reached out to me, which is amazing. I actually had a meeting with one last week just to compare notes. So it's, as much as we're individual teams, we're a team as a whole because we want to continue this movement, which is really great to see.
What advice would you give people looking to become general managers on the professional level and also in women's hockey and in women's sports in general?
I would say don't be afraid when opportunities arise. Don't second guess yourself. A really good quote that I live by is when somebody gives you an opportunity, say yes, and then find out how to do it. And that's, of course, I remember the quote. I know the person. It is missing me right now. Oh my goodness. He owns Virgin, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Airplane. What is his name? Let's think about this together. Russell. Richard Branson. There we go. I'm so sorry. I don't know why that slipped my head so much. But to get back into it, I could have been offered the position and said no just because I'm not my background isn't in hockey. But understanding that I have a strong operations background, I understand what it takes to get a team ready in terms of game ops, etc. So why not? Why can't I be in this space? Why can't I carve out a space for myself within this world with this opportunity? I would just say that when opportunities come and they don't necessarily match that box that you have for yourself, why not try something else and, transfer that skills and continue to grow as you make a pathway for yourself within this crazy world we're in. So yeah, I would just say don't necessarily discount opportunities as they come up just because they don't fit exactly what you're looking for.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find the Toronto Six at on social media and you at on social media?
Yeah, so we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook. On Twitter, we are the Toronto Six, spelt out, so SIX. On Instagram, we are the Toronto Six, and again, Six spelt out SIX. On Facebook, the Toronto Six, TikTok as well. For myself, on Twitter, it's just my first name, my last name, which is Krysti Clarke, KRYSTI CLARKE. And for Instagram, it's just a dot in between my first and last. So again, KRYSTI.CLARKE.
Thank you again, GM Krysti Clarke, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Toronto Six in this upcoming year and years to come.
Thank you, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, GM Krysti Clarke, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.